Hi, welcome to TamiyaSC. I'm Armand Gutierrez. Today we're going to be talking about track design. Here I am at the CM4 Racing Factory in Orange City, California. And technically, what we're going to be discussing is actually how difficult of a track this was, along with technically different strategies on how to handle tracks very similar to this. Now, the really big thing about this track is all the red jumps that we have here, because as these cars go around, we have some intricate turns immediately after the jumps. And that's always a really difficult thing to do because turning mid-air while gaining some air is always pretty difficult. You either have to be like the second car within this video and slow down, or you need to figure out that perfect balance between weight and speed so that way you can speed through the track but still be stable enough. Of course, this is Tamiya Mini 4-wheel drive, so it's all about the speed and it's all about being stable at the same time. So it's nothing really new for you. The first thing that I want to notice or point out is the first very large jump that the cars have to go through. It's technically a plateau, and immediately after that plateau, we have a bank that's a little bit off camera that I'm walking by right now next to that green next to my head. So as we come down, the first actual significant jump is that red jump that leads into the yellow piece. That is a little bit difficult because if you're going way too fast, you'll catch just enough air to hit the very top of the wall. And of course, that will be really troublesome later on. The most difficult part, though, is actually the jump right after that. That's actually in this middle section here. It is the jump up, turn, and then jump back down. The coming back down is not really the big issue, and the size of the turn isn't the issue. It's the fact that it's a turn immediately after gaining air. Because the cars actually gain air and whatnot, they have a really hard time sticking with their rollers to actually turn. And because this isn't a controlled speed game, we're blasting through that section rather quickly and actually quite dangerously. So you either have to put your brake all the way down and have house rules, or you have to have a 1 millimeter brake and just have that brake really work, or you need to slow down. Weight doesn't actually help all that much, but of course having a heavy car with a good solid brake can help, and then of course boosting your motor power works as well. Jan uses power dash in his car, and he's actually able to have an extremely heavy car while having that power dash. But as you see later in the videos, the cars kind of slide around in that turn very dangerously and causes a lot of issues later on. Pretty much what it comes down to track design is that at any point in time you gain a lot of air, you have to make sure that you actually give a lot of space for the cars to land. Recently I've been seeing a lot of tracks where the cars kind of fly. Oh, there goes one other car. So that car that actually just flew off that I'm picking up right now, there's no space for that car to land. Because we're actually going up a second tier of track, we're already really high up in the air, and then of course my car falls off immediately afterwards. Technically, a rule of thumb to make sure that the cars can land nice and evenly is 2 or 3 straightaways. If you want to make it really easy, have 3 straightaways. It makes it a really nice fast track, and it makes it really easy for any sort of jump to land, so long as you have about 3 straightaways. Usually a light dash or a hyper dash can land within those 3 straightaways, and if you move it up to 4 straightaways, then you can move up to power dash and the even ultra dash. But of course it depends on the weight of the car. We're assuming medium weight here for this discussion at least. If you don't have that much track, though, what you can do alternatively is actually put 3D printed ramps or cardboard pieces before the actual jumps, and so those smaller, tinier jumps will actually slow down the car enough so that way it can take on these big jumps. So here we'll see an alternative view of the car going around, and we're going to see some slow-mo, because as this car actually comes around very nice and slow, we actually see that it's already tilting because it's gaining air and it's going up against the wall. There with the arrow, we actually see the space of the car tilting. If I didn't have the double rollers in the front, I don't think I would have even made that turn, because I usually need 13 millimeter rollers or more. Anything less than 13 millimeters usually doesn't get a good enough grip to actually go against the wall because it's such a small amount of space. And then here we see on the outer lane, I've picked up way too much speed and I'm actually grinding on the wall as I come out. The weight of the car was actually the thing that kept me within the track, because if I was any lighter, I would have easily just flipped over on that other side of the wall. Also, having the 19mm rollers in the back is extremely helpful. And here on the inside lane, I actually go through just fine. No air, no lift, no nothing. Pretty standard course procedure, but it's those outer lanes that always seem to have a whole lot of trouble. I think it's because naturally for the inner lane, for a turn, since there's less track to actually run through, you have less time to actually jump out, technically. To be absolutely honest, we're going to have to test that out. So here, coming down though, since the jump here is actually going down and instead of shooting me up, you can make an even smaller turn here. That's supposed to, would technically, if we were going the opposite direction, going up into that two-piece turn, that would be significantly more difficult. So here we have the new USA car. It has the super heavy wheel sides. We have the Super XX axles in there to make the wheels super wide, and the unfortunately 8mm super fast rollers on the back, which actually made this car way too fast. Even on the inside turn there, I was actually gaining way too much speed, and I was tilting a little bit, and then everywhere else the car just zips and flies. And then as we slow-mo here, we can see that I finally get enough air. So even though I had the center of gravity, and even though my car was clearly heavy, the rollers just did not have anywhere near as much grip. So that's going to be it for TamiyaSC. If you like our video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, if you have any other ideas, please let us know what you would like to see next. We'd love to hear from you in the community. Either way, see you next time.